The moment I came, I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And how is it open? Like kids can go and look at the view.
I think it's great because light is essentially like find any surface and it could be like a blank canvas for light.
If you look behind me, you will see people queuing to see an artwork. They want to understand the meaning behind the art. They want to know how it was created and how it started.
Oh my God, the light. The light is so beautiful.
Noor Riyadh is a new citywide annual festival of light and art that launched in March 2021 in the city of Riyadh. The launch program included over 60 artworks, comprising large-scale public installations across Riyadh and a landmark exhibition, Light Upon Light, Light Art Since the 1960s, which is the largest and most diverse retrospective of light art ever presented. The festival features a diverse program of talks, workshops, family activities, film and music. Noor Riyadh is part of Riyadh Art, whose mission is to transform the city into a gallery without walls, bringing art to residential neighborhoods, parks, public areas, metro and bus stations, bridges, pedestrian pathways, city entrances and tourist destinations, cementing Riyadh as cultural capital of the Middle East. The focus of the festival is to shed light on the diversity of Riyadh and its urban form. The festival is installed in 13 citywide locations across Riyadh, with two main hubs, the King Abdullah Financial District and the King Abdulaziz Historical Center. The King Abdullah Financial District is located in the heart of Riyadh, designed to bring life to the kingdom's visions of a sustainable financial center, used to facilitate investment and enterprise in Saudi Arabia and the rest of the region. Consisting of 59 towers with public spaces, retail, office layouts, monorail and accommodation, the master plan will provide more than 3 million square meters of space, 62,000 parking spaces and accommodation for 12,000 residents. Colored Triangles by Myriad for Riyadh by Daniel Buren. Through a play of colors, reflections, transparencies and contrasts, Buren's artwork for Noor Riyadh 2021 shows the conference center of the King Abdullah Financial District in a completely new light. Daydream 2021 by Robert Wilson. Daydream is a radiant sculpture of painted steel and thermoformed mirror polystyrene, illuminated to create a visual sequence of light.
I was thinking about the number 2 and how 2 is actually 1. I have 2 hands, but it's one body. I have 2 sides, my brain, but it's one mind. So I thought of these 2 symbols, the moon and the sun, how they were opposite ends of a pole, but were maybe a part of the same world. We're all dreaming all the time. So I thought of this moon as a reflective surface which can reflect ourselves, can reflect the world around us, and the universe. It's a poetic idea of thinking about the moon. The sun is something else. It's warm. The Selva Palace is made of mud. It was once covered in water. And so again, it's working with opposites. We see this dried earth that came from water, and seen with this big disc of a sun, which is in warm hues, copper tones. It's the opposite of the moon, which is mirrored, colder surface. And often we see the Selva Palace washed with waves of water. A way of structuring material, of putting two opposites together and thinking about them as one.
Run Beyond 2015 by Angelo Bonello. Run Beyond represents a man as he runs at breakneck speed to jump to incredible heights. The run starts, ends, and begins again in a perpetual cycle that alludes to the course of human life. The Infinite Blue 2021 by Lulwa Al-Hamoud. Viewers enter a universe evoking the dark blue sky, projected with animated images based on the Language of Existence series, a lifelong project for the artist.
I find art is a way of contemplating. So I don't talk about my feelings or the moment or the space I am in. I'm actually looking at a different dimension. My work is always connected, or it actually expresses the relation between the finite and the infinite. The finite being us and the infinite being God. Everything starts in this life with one thing and it becomes infinite. Even language, which my work is about, because it's about a new language that I have created new codes for each Arabic letter based on mathematics, and created the names of God. Calligraphy is actually deconstructed and reconstructed here. So it is linked to the proportional script, and also the way the geometric patterns used to be done. So it's about abstracting the abstract. If we look at calligraphy as an abstract art, this is actually abstracting the abstract. As you see, my work is in the hall where the mosque is. So I thought I would choose a reflective material that reflects the mosque, but at the end of the day, it's not praying, or it's not anything. It's what left inside us. It's how it's about spirituality more than anything else. I've seen people from Jeddah, from Dammam, from Abha. They all came just to see the festival. And of course, many of these artists, we used to go, for me, I used to go to New York and to London to see them at the Tate or at MoMA, but now they're here. You can see the artwork very closely. Not only that, the Saudi artist is put within an international context, and that's amazing. That's such a trust in the Saudi artists and the Saudi arts.
Bifurcation 2021 by Daniel Kanogar. Electric bolts of light zigzagging up and down the zebra building of the King Abdullah Financial District. Connected to the internet, it reacts in real time to thunderstorms happening around the globe.
Bifurcation is a project I've done specifically for the zebra building here in Riyadh in the financial district. When I first started thinking about the building, I became very interested in the white sheathing around the skyscraper. And after a while, it occurred to me that it would be interesting to project these lightning bolts kind of running up and down this very particular kind of a surface on the building. So the work is actually tracking in real time storms that are happening all around the globe. We're connected to a web page that is tracking, it's a storm tracker, And the work is generative. This is a very important aspect of the project. It's not a video that's just repeating. Depending on the information that's coming in, including how many lightning bolts in a storm, whether that has positive or negative charges, whether it's a vertical lightning or a horizontal lightning, all these are elements that help me create this animation with an algorithm that was created specially for this project. So it's between the colleagues that I'm familiar with and collaborate with in different festivals, and some of the old masters that we can see, for example, in this exhibition space. I feel very honored and very excited to be part of this festival.
Picto Sender Machine 2018 by Felipe Prado. Picto Sender Machine is an enormous low-resolution screen of 1200 enlarged pixels that invites the public to interact with it. Their silhouette, movements, dance steps and gestures are translated into blocks of light displayed on a live screen. Mitochondria, Powerhouses 2021 by Ahmed Mata and Factum Ate. The artworks in this project include an installation with a Tesla coil and a series of sculptures made of fulgurite, vitrified sand that forms when lightning hits the ground. Submergence 2013 to 2021 by Squid Soup. Submergence is a large, immersive walk-through experience that uses over 5,000 individual points of suspended light to create feelings of presence and movement within physical space. The National Museum of Riyadh is the most famous museum in the KSA. It is located in the middle part of the King Abdulaziz Historical Center, which was established to be a cultural center highlighting the prominent history of the Arabian Peninsula and its historical message of disseminating Islam.
We've pretty much, I think, seen every single one of the installations, so we've had a nice tour. Some of the, I think the highlights were, the rugs were quite nicely done on the sand because it gave like a 3D effect to the art. There was also a really nice movie screen playing as well, which had some mist coming out of it, so it gave like a futuristic Blade Runner feel to it, which I thought was quite cool. So overall, I thought everything was really nicely put together. Also safe as well in terms of social distancing, so the organization is good as well.
My piece for Noor Festival, the title is Baytuna fi Sama in Arabic and May We Meet Again in English. My research of this work started with the work of the Japanese-Canadian architect Raymond Maruyama, who built this beautiful building, and that it was launched in 1998. Raymond Maruyama, one of his main principles in his work is people, and how can people interact within his architectural space. And as we can see, the slight curvature of this beautiful wall, it's kind of embraced the people in the garden, and you can see that vividly. That was kind of the platform of the concept. The other layer is the sound of the language. How can we as a human interact with languages that we don't really understand? I mean, we listen to a Tagalog, and we don't know what she's saying, but there is something in our nature as a human that gravitates us towards the language, and it's very common and universal at the same time. And then on top of that is poetry and literature. I collaborated in that work with two amazing artists, Cristina Poplador from Philippines and Arshi Irshad Ahmadzai from India. They participated in writing two different poems. Each one of them has its own references that only the people who speak their native language or common language would understand. Whether it's a nature element, spaces, places, roads, it was all kind of merged with their own poems. And it's beautiful to see the interaction of all these families living in Al Murabba area. You see Saudi families moved at the late 70s, early 80s from Al Murabba towards the north. And instead of that, as an exchange, families from different cultures or nationalities came and lived here. And this garden is their kind of a gathering spot for them. They celebrate their birthdays, they come, with their families, kids. So it is their space. And to me, as an artist, I really look towards public art with a complete responsibility that I don't want to impose my art without interacting with them. It is their space. So I think with their native languages, this work managed to communicate with them virtually, if I would say. The beauty is kind of, I was trying to create what I call virtual geographical intersection, which means that the artists themselves participated in that project. They've never visited Saudi before. And the people from the same countries, they did not visit home since 1 year now because of COVID. So there is kind of a connection between them within the language and poetry. The images are kind of just, I would say, it's a metaphoric element. I mean, it was quite difficult for me to visualize or represent these poems visually, but these images give you kind of a glimpses of what she's saying in her poems, and for each kind of individual, each poem, we've been very, careful and cautious about using the visuals. I don't want to explain the poems literally, but I wanted to do it kind of indirect. So, for instance, with Cristina and the Tagalog poem Dilaw, which means yellow, she supplied me with an amazing material of her medium photographs that she took in Manila, and then we placed it along with the After Effects. And then yesterday I had an amazing interaction with one of the audience. She's from Philippines, and she was like, I know that place. It was a market in Manila. And she told me the whole poem really kind of connected with me when I was young and I was living in Manila at that time. It reminded me with my childhood, and that's very important. It's kind of a connection, an emotional, visual connection. I was really pleased to hear all these comments, and I believe, for the Arabic as well, for the Arabic poem, I've used archival from my family photographs and old videos, home videos. So even Saudis, when they came, like Riyadh citizens who live in Riyadh, they felt something because the visuals and the poetry kind of integrated together to give you sort of an essence of that reminiscence of these spaces.
City Gazing Riyadh, 2021, by Vow. City Gazing Riyadh is a tailor-made installation based on the city of Riyadh, as seen in NASA satellite images. It gives an impression of the footprint of light that the city sends into space.
Hi, I'm Bingus Vogel. I'm from Design Studio Vow. It's a design studio in Amsterdam, and we work on the principle of slow tech, which means that we're slowing down the world using technology. So what we try to do with slow tech is that we use the same technology to slow down the world and make us stand still at nature and at each other. It has been a great honor for us to be part of Noor Riyadh. Also because our work, City Gazing Riyadh, is really about the development of the city, and we've studied intensively all the old maps of Riyadh, and our work is really about this technological progress, of course, but at the same time about the fragility of life. For every city that we develop within the City Gazing project, We do intensive research about the development of the city, which is extremely interesting for us to see this, basically this transformation into a city that was built for cars originally, and now it's becoming to be built for people with the public parks and the light installations and also this festival. For me personally, what's my most impressive experience is to see basically all the colors here of the whole city. Like it has these amazing brownish colors, pastel colors, and it's all like it beautifully blends in. Our work is based in the historical center of Riyadh, and this is really where the start of our work, where it really begins. So we have an animation over the last 100 years of Riyadh, but it starts really small, actually, in the city center. So what we really hope to achieve with this work is that, because it's overview, so it's 15 by 15 meters wide, and we see that there's really a culture of going to the park and having a picnic. So we really hope that people will actually picnic under our work and really enjoy it in all its beauty.
And this is why we decided to start our journey today here at the King Abdulaziz Historical Center, having a look at wonderful piece of art where we got an amazing mix between some digital stuff, lighting effects, music, sensations, a lot of good things happening lately here. So it's really worth to go out and really have a look about what's happening.
Nocturnal Dialogue 2021 by Ralph Westerhoff and Talal Al-Zaid. For Noor Riyadh 2021, Dutch artist Ralph Westerhoff and Saudi artist Talal Al-Zaid have worked together to create an original site-specific piece.
So this is a collaboration with the Dutch artist Ralph Westerhoff, and we both collaborated on this piece together for Noor Riyadh's first edition. It was an interesting piece because it's a collaboration, which I think makes it very interesting in the sense, both of us as artists were learning from each other a lot. I've learned a lot from Ralph, and he had learned a lot from me during the process of the making for this particular piece. So, I think that particular aspect, going through that process with the learning is really a very important element and is really what made it also very exciting for both of us. We deliberately picked this place because if you look at the surrounding, it's a spacious location, and it helped a lot with what we wanted to do. And even if you look at the, behind the installation itself, there's quite some space. So this really spoke to us because it's such a big space, and by us putting the installation here would really allow for a lot of room for people to come and be here, freely and within the surroundings. And it's an outdoor space, and because the idea was for us to get people to come and contemplate. We wanted them to come and have a moment of silence and just think, and that's why the artwork is also so minimalistic in that aspect. It's a singular color. And a lot of what we see in the artwork itself is inspired by our current surroundings. What we're seeing here is art is for everyone, really. It's not just the gallery audience that is coming and interacting, but it's like families with their children. It's really it's everyone. Everyone, just younger youth, people from different generations. We've seen everyone here, and people that have not necessarily been familiar in the sense with art by attending art exhibitions, but they've been here now and they said that this is exciting and they're learning about that. So you never know, you're creating an audience that's eventually going to be interested in art, even if it's a smaller audience, but it's okay, it's a start.
The Cupola 2003 by Ilya and Emilia Kabakov. The cupola is a large mixed-media installation which resembles a rose window. In the center, in the depths of the cupola, there is a white aperture from which colored beams radiate in all directions. Their colors change in infinite variations in concert with the music played under the cupola. The work is based on the ideas of the great Russian composer Scriabin and other composers of the 1920s and 1930s on the connection between sound and color.
My name is Emilia Kabakov, and I'm a part of a duo, Ilya and Emilia Kabakov. We worked together with my husband for 33 years, but he is one who is a professional painter and artist. Together we start working on installations. And installation is something when we're trying to build the space with the atmosphere, and when people come inside, it's about their memories. The memories flowed out of them. It's about fears, it's about fantasies, dreams, everything that everybody, common people feel, suddenly they remember. The cupola is based on the idea from 1920s, Scriabin, Russian composers, and some of the Americans also, the play between sound and color. Some people can see colors, sounds as a color, and some can't. We give the possibility to not only listen to the music, but to see how colorful it is. Everybody always asks us, how do you divide your work? And we always said we don't have to divide because we are like one person. What does matter what we create. And we know that we create for the people. We like our viewer on every level. It could be curator, it could be connoisseur, it could be art critic, but it also is just the person who first time walk in the museum. One artist said, what's the difference between good art and bad art? I walk into the room, I see the art, and I say, wow. I walk out of the room and I said, so what? Or I walk into the room and I said, so what? Then I walk out of the room and I say, wow. So whatever left with you after you see the art, that's a good art. Make you think, make you feel, and that's what we do.
Rhizome 2021 by Tom and Leanne Dekiver. Rhizome joins the trees of the Palm Oasis with a web made of hundreds of meters of illuminated rope. The word rhizome originates from the world of botany and has been used by philosophers and media theorists to refer to various forms of network. This site-specific work reflects on the various on- and offline connections humans make in all sorts of manners, consciously and unconsciously. My Mother's Rug, Unique Edition, 2021. Saeed Gamhawi uses projections of a rug, his father's wedding gift to his mother, as a metaphor for the last connection he has to his hometown since he moved to Riyadh. Beacon, 2021, by Karolina Halatek. Beacon is a new large-scale sculptural installation that invites viewers to be immersed in a dazzling white light in the form of a pillar which points towards the sky to evoke the sublime matters between heaven and earth. On one hand, the light pillar is used as a sign of guidance and protection. On the other, its white light includes all colors of the spectrum and refers to the concepts of completeness, of fullness.
When you're crossing, when you're stepping in, then you are fully immersed in light. I'm also very pleased about being here. It feels magical for me to be in Saudi Arabia. It's my first time and my first creative time. It's simple work, but the preparation for that production took almost a year, but visually it's very simplified, minimalistic artwork. And I put an emphasis on immersiveness, on bringing more focusing on the experience rather than the object itself. So I call it more like non-object art. abstract in that sense, but they are very solid in the material because they have a sculpture element. However, they are also very ephemeral. The power of the work, it's a very individual thing, you know. I always care about having the work that is inviting. Definitely there will be a difference between inside and the outside. I would say more powerful could be being inside because there will be only light. And this is the distinction between being like in a kind of inner world and outer world.
The King Fahd National Library is the legal deposit and copyright library for Saudi Arabia. KFNL was established in 1983 in response to an initiative made by the people of Riyadh when King Fahd became king. Tribute to Mohammed Al Salim, 2021. Moderator Sumantro Ghosh. A never-before-seen work by pioneer Saudi artist Mohammed Al Salim. This work is part of a rare collection of computer graphics that he made towards the end of his life and were discovered in his Florence residence after his death. When the Moon is Full, 2021, by Zaman Jassim. Zaman Jassim's When the Moon is Full is a project in which the artist stands in a nostalgic pause before a moment of farewell and reflects on all that is beautiful in a lifetime. As the moon is illuminated by sunlight, man is illuminated by the light of his life partner, leaving the viewer to ponder on the metaphorical similarities between man and the celestial bodies that orbit our universe. The light emanating from the installation's luminous holograms reflects the impact that humans have on this universe and urges us to do well.
يا ريحة هلي يا لسفرتك عودة انت أمل دنيتي وغصن الهوى عودة قلبي وقلبك لحن كل ما خلص عودة فرقاك ما أقدر مهما النوايب نبت حبك كشيب العمر.
After some first quick analysis and calculations of the engineer, they told me that the technical challenges were too high to come across. Hi, my name is Kurt Vermeulen. I'm the artist for the Star in Motion artwork at the Kingdom Tower location for the Noor Riyadh Festival. The artwork itself is being presented on the highest building in Riyadh and you know, in the middle of this void, which will be like an icon, I think, for the festival and also for the city. If you ask me about what the inspiration came from for this artwork, I think I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people because when I heard about the tagline that is under one sky, the sky made me think immediately about the stars and the star in itself. And so the connection was, for me, quite easily made between making this star really appear in the middle of the void that is in this building and let it shine over all of Riyadh. I know that a lot of artists have a very different process. They go very contemplative, they do a lot of research, sometimes they need months before an inspiration comes to them. Other artists are very intuitive and I consider myself in that category. Doesn't mean that afterwards I don't reflect on other ideas, which we have done in the process of this project. But we always came back to the first idea about the star. What I do appreciate enormously in the curatorship of this art festival is that they brought in a fair amount, even a very good amount of local talent. So giving them that platform, I really I think it's needed. I think other festivals should learn from that and also push that forward. If I can say, I'm very grateful for the people that have made this happen here, and I'm glad to be here.
Riyadh Front is an extraordinary urban development that reimagines how we work, play, dine, shop, and share space in the heart of Riyadh. Halo 2 2021 by Venividi Multiplex. Halo 2 refers to the sun as the greatest source of light and warmth that shapes the conditions for life on our planet. A halo is an optical phenomenon produced by light interacting with crystals in the atmosphere.
I love this piece of art. Like, the moment I came, I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. I really love how the fountains are like not one big fountain, and how is it open, like kids can go and look at the view. And oh my god, the light is so beautiful. Like, I really love how it's like a sun on water, and how it's like hanging, not like having something around it. It's a piece of art.
Skylar 2021 by Christopher Bauder and Gangding Ray. By combining a vast array of kinetic mirrors and perfectly synchronized moving lights with a sophisticated multi-channel sound system, it offers an audiovisual narration of radiant light vector drawings and multi-dimensional sound.
Hello, my name is Christopher Bauder. I'm a light artist from Berlin, Germany, and this behind me is my art piece, Scala. For me, it's always super interesting to bring our art piece to a different country, to a different culture, and to see how people react. And I also personally have never been to Saudi Arabia before, so I'm very excited to see how it's perceived, how people react to it, how the emotions will be, and how people will kind of have a response to our art in a different country. It was very important that the piece, like the moving sculpture, the kinetic sculpture, is always connected with sound, because these are the basic triggers that we react to. It's motion, it's sound, it's light. It's very important to create profound emotions. I mean, we're using very abstract technology. We use music that is created in a computer. Everything you see behind me is controlled by a computer. There's a lot of technology, there's network. But even though we're using all these very artificial means, we're trying to create or evoke emotions. Honestly, I think the reaction of people towards the art, it's a very universal thing. Interestingly, very similar, because everyone has similar connotations. What you see behind me, people say it looks like the sun. Of course, it's not the sun, and I didn't make a sun, but you have this picture in your head, and everyone knows the sun. So it's a universal sign for something every human knows. When I checked the other artists in this festival, it's like basically I'm a fan of all of them. It's like such a big roster of big names in the lighting art and environment, and I'm a big fan of them. So it's a very great experience to be here and be part of this kind of surrounding.
Artificial Moon, 2007, by Wang Yuyang. An imposing sculptural piece with a diameter of over 4 meters. The installation recreates the Earth's moon and uses thousands of light bulbs to simulate craters and other surface features of the much admired and celebrated Earth satellite.
What happens when the visitors come to the festival, and they're spending a good hour plus within this location, and there are other locations as well, 13 locations in total, but you get food trucks coming in, and so what happens when the food trucks come in, that creates jobs, and people start spending and eating and having a great time, which also supports a lot of the community around you, like the small restaurants and like the coffee shops that are around us, because me coming here and having, in the earlier days, we would always like walk after and just grab coffee from somewhere nearby, or sometimes even grab a bite. So that's all because this festival was put together. That's just like the simple result that you could measure and see how it allowed us to further really support the community around us.
We Light Riyadh by Company New Heroes. We Light Riyadh is an installation created with more than 800 lamps, which sheds new light on the rapidly changing city of Riyadh, reconnecting its cosmopolitan residents in an engaging project that presents their inspiring and touching stories to each other, to the city, and to the world. This work is an ode to all the people who light Riyadh, because it is the diversity of its inhabitants that gives a city its distinctive light. The Mindship Exodus 2021 by Muhannad Shunu. The Mindship Exodus is a new site-specific installation conceived for Noor Riyadh 2021. Shredded steel wire and steel mesh manifest a sci-fi landscape upon which rests a discarded vessel from another world. Both industrial and organic, it creates an atmosphere of wonder and mystery, its surface coming to life with patterns and waves of burning light, in a call to reignite the mind and unleash its power to change our world.
I chose to explore it as a state of mind, not as an idea of luminance. It's about perceiving in the mind. My name is Muhannad Shona. I'm a Saudi artist from Riyadh, and I'm participating in the first inaugural Light Festival with the new installation. The title is The Mindship Exodus. I think my process is always a conversation. It begins in my mind, and then I try to convey that to those around me, those who can take this idea that it's in a very early state, it's fragile, it can very easily be extinguished. So the process is collaborative, and it's also, I like the process to be surprising. So it is, in the end, something that I need to be surprised as the work is being created. The work is an exploration of the mind and different states of thinking. For this installation, for this kind of interpretation of light, I chose to approach the idea of sort of internal light in the mind that pushes back against pressure for darkness. I think we've experienced in the past this consistent push for darkness within the mind, and I believe that the mind is naturally a very bright place. What I wanted from the selection of materials specifically is for it not to be immediately apparent what this material is, and to surprise people. So I'm hoping that the work will show the power of taking something simple as a single thread of the material and then multiplying that to create something that's transformative and can guide people towards new shores of transformative ideas. Obviously, I'm very honored to be part of this inaugural Light Festival, especially in my home town and country of Riyadh and Saudi Arabia, and it's exciting to be part of this cultural change that we're all experiencing. I hope, we rise to the occasion.
To me, it's very important to start from my own hometown and my country, and then I travel with my work through all around the world. It's very important to convey that to the young Saudi artists, that it's possible to start from home and to be rooted and grounded from your home, and then you can take off to wherever you want.
You can definitely feel all different kinds of arts bubbling up in Riyadh, whether it's art with lights like we've seen tonight, or whether it's music or anything else.
They are really talented and it's getting out. Suddenly it's really getting out, and they are amazing, they are ambitious.
The names that have participated in the festival, who would have thought having them here in Riyadh, part of a big festival and partaking with them throughout the festival is just so much. I mean, it's magnificent and it's historical at the same time.
I'm positive my country is going to be on top of the world when it comes to culture, because not with Saudi art only, but with attracting art from around the world.